Coming up on this episode of Up for Debate, we're talking urban legends. That's right. The funny stories, the weird spooky things, the unprovable. We discuss all the modern myths that get people asking the tough questions. We're going to do it for you. We're going to discuss all of them right now on this episode of Up for Debate. This is Up for Debate, episode number 47, recorded March 9th, 2016. Myths of the Modern Man. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Up for Debate, the podcast that nobody can prove actually exists. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by the blur you see in bad quality photography. It is Matt Mariani.
How you doing, Mr. Sean? I'd like to see them try to prove that we exist. Because no one would believe it.
We're just really good motion capture CGI. I'm really Andy Serkis.
I'm played by Frank Oz, of course.
Yeah, and it's a convincing performance. We really do come off as amateurs. So
we do.
It's
for many years, people thought we were just animatronic puppets.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Hall of Presidents style.
No, we're completely CG. Completely CG. There's all just a bunch of ones and zeros right here.
That's right. But we're so much more than that, Matt, and I think we've got an exciting topic tonight.
I think so. I hear we're talking about one of my favorite things. Bourbon legends.
Bourbon legends?
Bourbon legends, of course.
Bourbon legends? Can you tell me a bourbon legend?
One time I heard, now I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that they were going to make a Crystal Pepsi bourbon.
That sounds awful.
That sounds like...
That's probably why it's a legend.
It probably tastes just like cough medicine,
That's probably why they didn't make it. Wow. Yeah. All right.
So that's a bourbon legend for you. Another bourbon legend, I heard that bourbon, the word bourbon, actually was created after the word urban. And it was invented in a city by the bourbon company in order to sell bourbon liquor.
Really struggled through that one.
And the first place, and it was called Bourbon Urban.
Oh, that sounds believable.
No, it should be Urban Bourbon.
The Urban Bourbon.
Yeah.
See, now I heard that Old Man Bourbon died in his mysterious
he's the one
mansion.
that lives on top of the. He lives on the Indian burial ground.
And if you say his name 3 times into a mirror, he'll appear behind you
with some bourbon.
With some bourbon, yes, which is why you do it, because he starts the party. No, Matt, we're not talking about bourbon legends, although we could. Thank goodness we're not. No, we're talking about urban legends.
Of course, urban legends.
And not Urban Meyer, the coach of the Ohio State football team. No, we're talking about, as the episode's titled, Myths of the Modern Man, the stories we tell ourselves. Now, Matt, I was thinking about this before the show. I'm excited about tonight, and here's why. One of my favorite things about doing this is that you and I pretty much regularly have very different approaches to how we take our topics. Because usually you and I, we don't discuss before the show very much. We usually just pick a broad topic without any plan as to how we're going to discuss it.
None
That's
whatsoever.
why the show's terrible. So
yes.
I'm curious because urban legend is a very broad label.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff that can fall under that.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a certain tact you took when coming up with what you wanted to discuss tonight?
Well, Sean, I mean, I think for as much as we don't have a pattern usually when we, or we don't have a strategy when we go into this, we kind of fall into similar patterns. Mm-hmm. I know that you go for the more interesting, kind of thought-provoking parts of the subject we're covering, and I tend to wander into the realm of insanity a little bit,
Yes,
and I
the
just take the
wacky. Yes.
wackiest approaches. I'm just assuming we probably are gonna follow that same structure when
All
we
right.
do this show tonight.
I mean that 100% works for me, and I'm ready to jump right in because there's no time like the
Yeah,
present.
no time left.
With my first urban legend,
Yeah, let's hear about it.
Matt, did you know that
Did
in
you know?
1966,
Hmm.
upon his death, the head of Walt Disney was frozen cryogenically and rests frozen in a warehouse in Glendale, California today?
Now this is one that I've heard. This is a classic one.
It is a
You went for
classic.
the classic.
I want to start with an obvious, a classic.
Yeah, a nice obvious classic. Yeah. Um, and yeah, I've heard people say that. Now, of course, it's not true,
Question mark.
or is it?
Or is it? Which is, I think, how we're going to leave all these, aren't we?
Yes, but um, yeah, I don't really know why did he want to freeze his head?
Well,
What
that's
did
the
he want?
biggest.
Did he think he was going to come back?
Well, that's the biggest question. That's because a lot of these urban legends are rooted in some kernel of truth, right? Or at least some
Yeah.
logic. But this one is very confusing to me because I actually Googled around and did some research and I couldn't find any proof that Walt Disney in his entire life had ever talked about being cryogenically frozen.
Yeah.
It's
I'm,
very weird.
when he died, was that even like a? I know. I think who was the other one? Ted Williams was
Ted
was he
Williams,
the other
yes.
one that
Mm-hmm.
allegedly had his head cryogenically frozen?
Mm-hmm.
Now, where do you think this kind of a not where the legend originates, but where do you think this kind of like desire would originate? Like, who was the first one to say, I would really like to have my head frozen for posterity after my death?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the head is kind of the most important part of your body, and that it's impractical to cryogenically freeze your whole body, right? You know, in the
Well, I
future
guess
they'd figure that
we
out.
kind of we live in our headspace, like
Right.
see with our eyes, we hear with our ears, smell all the senses except for
Well, and
touch.
your brain, which is pretty important. So, I understand that, and again, I do think it would be difficult to cryogenically freeze your whole body and keep it frozen. So, I understand the headpiece a little bit,
Yeah. No,
but
I get that. I totally get that. Um, I just wonder who the first one that thought like, oh, let me freeze that. Like, I don't know.
that's a good question. In 1922, it was first mentioned, but it began in 1962 with Michigan College physics professor Robert Ettinger proposing in a book that freezing people may be a way to reach future medical technology.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Now, of
So
course, that was
there's
just a
a
theory.
yeah. So it's to be believed that both Walt Disney and Ted Williams were aware of this,
Yes.
I guess, this procedure,
Yes.
and so I guess infatuated with it or fascinated by it that they went ahead and committed their posthumous, I don't know, heads to this
Bequeathed
plant.
their heads to the cause. Yeah, I mean, according to Wikipedia, if you ask Disney, in 1969, a publicist claimed that the source of the rumor was a group of Disney studio animators with a bizarre sense of humor, and that there was no truth to it. However, cryonics pioneer Bob Nelson in 1972 said that Disney wanted to be frozen, but because he didn't specify it in writing, his family did not freeze it. So there might be some truth to the fact that he at least wanted to be frozen, though there's no written or kind of straight evidence of that. Nor is there any evidence that he was actually frozen. His daughter wrote, quote, "There is absolutely no truth to the rumor that my father wished to be frozen. I doubt that my father had ever heard of cryonics." And of course, it's claimed that he was cremated following his death in 1966.
Yeah, but I think that's where most of the stories uh, end. that he was in fact cremated. He had his ashes spread. I think there's more. Isn't there more to the story about Ted Williams? Like he actually did
Yeah.
get his head, have his head frozen, or
Um.
or he actually did like try to go through with the process, at least like closer to Walt Disney.
Um. Let's see. Um. He wanted to be frozen. Um. Though Ted Williams' will stated his desire to be cremated, Williams' son and youngest daughter chose to have his remains frozen cryonically.
Hmm.
Then there was a lawsuit among all the children of whether or not that his father had been aware, and that was that he wanted. Um, um, and it doesn't say what happened after that. Apparently, I guess he's still frozen.
Hmm. All right. Interesting for Walt Disney to go ahead and want to do that.
Yes,
Kind of cool.
I agree. So, Matt, as we wrap this one up, and maybe we'll do this throughout the evening, why don't we give it a urban legend 1 to 10 scale?
All right. All
One,
right. This is
one
good.
being this is not even humanly possible, and 10 being this is absolute certainty. Where do you rate Walt Disney's Frozen head?
Walt Disney's Frozen head, for me, it rates pretty low. Like a two. I give it a two because it's, I don't know. It's just not. It's just kind of uninteresting.
I would agree. I'd
It's
put it
not
at about a
really.
2.
It's not really a big deal. Like it's kind of
Well,
weird.
the
Like,
story behind it isn't as good as some other urban legends, right? It doesn't
it's just,
logically make sense.
and it's such a weird place to start because
Hmm.
it's like, why is this a an urban legend to begin with?
Now, if
Like,
like a book came out that had been kept secret all these years that said about what Walt Disney was going to do when he was unfrozen, then I'd be like, okay, now we're
exact,
talking. But
exact,
there's really nothing lending any credibility to this, even in the urban legend sense.
yeah, exactly.
So, Matt, what do you have one that you would like to discuss?
Um, yeah, and this is kind of a cool one. I mean, I think we've all kind of heard of it. We've all we all might be familiar with this urban legend. This is a fairly modern one in that it wasn't around as at least as far as my knowledge went when we were younger.
Hmm.
But it's definitely circulated the internet. It's even made it to the mainstream in probably the saddest and most disturbing way possible. When I think there was some news story that covered it a couple years ago. I forgot the exact details, but it wasn't good. Um, of course, I'm talking about the Slender Man.
Ooh, Slender Man.
The
Now,
Slender Man.
I'm going to be completely honest, Matt. I
Yes,
know
sure.
absolutely nothing about Slender Man.
Okay.
Not a
Um,
thing. Can you give me the rundown?
well, part of the Slender Man mythos, Mr. Sean, is
Hmm.
that the more you research it, I guess the less the Slender Man likes that you like do that. So he's supposed to like haunt you because of it. So I didn't do a lot of research about that. Just respecting the Slender Man legend.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, as far as I can tell, all right, he's like a really tall guy, and he like doesn't have a face. He wears like a suit. Um, there are multiple origin stories. It actually started as a story on Dig, I believe.
No, according to this, so I'm on Wikipedia. Something awful.
Yeah. Oh, something
In
awful. Okay.
2009, and it was a Photoshop contest, and a guy photoshopped Slender Man and said it was a thing. This isn't even this is barely an urban legend.
But then it took off, and they like people started writing like fanfics and stuff about him, and then he turned into like a, I guess he went from like a benevolent figure to like a dark figure, and now he's like a big urban legend, I guess, in the world. They made a movie about him. There's a fan movie called Marble Hornets. It's
We
more of
talked
like a
about this, didn't
miniseries.
we?
Yeah, yeah. We probably have touched on it. There's like it's like a student film project, I guess. Um, yeah, he that's like the top urban legend of like I think of our time, at least right now. He's like a pretty popular thing.
With the kids.
Yeah, with the kids, with everyone. He's a big deal. So I looked him up.
Yeah, I have a bit. I have a problem. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want
What?
to. I don't want to burst your bubble.
What?
I've got a problem with this.
What's your problem here?
Because this is just some guy made up a story, and then a bunch of people on the internet made up more stories about that story.
Isn't that what an urban legend is?
No,
Isn't that like
no, no. That
well,
is
we never
a
set
that
we
is
never
a
set any parameters.
it's a
about
character.
what
It's a
urban
fiction
legend
franchise,
is or
but
not.
it has no base in reality. No one's ever seen the real Slender Man because he's made up.
But it has a base on the internet.
But that's
The internet is reality, Sean.
no, but but it's 100% fiction. Like you can't even tie a single fiber of it to reality. Like at least Walt Disney said Walt Disney was a real person. People do get cryogenically frozen. This is just fiction. That's like saying Harry Potter is an urban legend.
I don't see the difference.
Because it's because people don't believe it's real.
Some people do. Some people might believe it's real. It's
Who
it's
believes
like a
real?
it's like an internet phenomenon.
But nobody thinks it's real. That's
The fans of the show think it's real. The people listening right now, I guarantee you, they're like, or maybe they don't think it's real. They think it's a real urban legend. It's like a modern. And isn't that the title? Didn't you say it's like modern myths or something?
no, it's myths of the modern man.
Myths of the modern man.
No,
Myths of the modern man.
I've got such a problem
This
with
is
this.
a modern myth.
This is I've got.
You've got
We
such
could,
a
we could,
perfect.
so you're telling me we could make up an urban legend right now, with
If
no
it
basis
gets,
in
if it
reality?
gains enough traction, then yeah. If people start believing in it, and you know,
You know what it is?
makes the nighttime news,
This is the
then I
same.
would say yeah, it's an urban legend.
This is the same reason why I can't accept YouTube celebrities. It is because I just refuse to acknowledge that the internet is a thing, and because I'm old and I
Yeah,
don't understand what kids do
Old
these
man
days.
Jennings over here.
And I do not understand this. This is weird. Like I get
That phenomenon.
I get made up stories on the internet and fan fiction and all this kind of stuff. I get all that. But for me, for it to be a legend, people have to believe it's true. Every single legend we will talk about tonight, people on some level think it's true.
I don't discount that, but I think that same argument applies for the Slender Man. I think that he's gone from and that's what makes him so unique is that he's gone from the internet sensation to a real natural urban legend in today's world.
So people believe there really is a Slender Man.
I think that some people do. I think that some people, probably kids, probably actually they probably read these stories or watched these videos, and I believe there's a like a niche population, a cult population out there that probably do think it's real. It's like when somebody told you, name an urban legend from our childhood, like the Boogeyman. He's kind of like the modern Boogeyman, I think.
Yeah, but then how's he different from Harry Potter? I can believe Harry Potter's real.
Not
That
a
doesn't.
legend, Sean.
I don't know. He has quite an epic tale.
He has a whole section of Disney that's just dedicated to him.
But if I believe he's real and enough people believe he's real, does that make him an urban legend?
Does that make him real? like Santa Claus.
In your imagination, it does. Wink. Okay. I
In the
don't
hearts and minds of children everywhere.
I don't think we're gonna agree on this, and
We'll
that's
agree to
okay.
disagree.
And that's okay.
That's why it's up for debate.
That's totally fine. And
We
it
finally
is.
had a debate on this show.
We did. We
It's
tend
been
to
so
agree a little
long.
too much.
We agree so much for a
Um,
show that's called Up for Debate. We have a
too
lot of
agreeable.
agreeing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Finally, we got the debate happening. Cheers.
Okay.
All right, so obviously on the scale of urban legends from 1 to 10,
Yeah, how
this
do you
one is
score
not
it,
going to
Matt?
rate very high
Well, how do you score it?
for you.
No, for you. How
But
do you score it?
I would probably give it like a 9. I would probably
Wow.
give it like a 9.
Wow. So you, but we're doing it on a scale of how likely it is to actually exist.
Oh, all right. No, I thought you meant just on like how good of an urban legend it
No,
was.
no, no, no. The initial scale was how.
How
Although we
it,
can change it. In my mind, it was 10 is like absolute certainty this is real,
Oh,
and 1 is this is impossible.
all right. So this one, I'll give it like a 6.
What? So you think
Hey,
Walt Disney's
listen.
head is a 2, and this
Yeah.
is a 6?
Well, listen. I mean, did you read any of those stories?
About Walt Disney's head?
No, about the Slender Man.
No, I obviously have not. That's okay. You know what, Matt? 6 is fine. I am scoring it a 0 because it's not an urban legend.
Okay.
It does not get a score.
We'll just let the people at home decide.
Write in
Whatever.
upfordebatetv@gmail.com. Write into us if you think Slender Man is A, an urban legend, or B, real. Because I want to hear it.
All right. Now it's your turn. See what
Matt, I'm going to go to another classic.
another classic,
Matt, you are a New Yorker and that you live in the state of New York.
allegedly.
Not quite the city. Have you ever heard of alligators in the sewers?
Yeah. This was a big one in like the 80s, right?
Well,
Was this a
how about a little history for you?
tall tale? Let's hear about it.
According to Snopes, looking at the New York Times, it was first mentioned in 1927. A good-sized Florida alligator found in a storm-swollen stream in Middletown, New York. It was later discovered that the alligator had escaped several months ago from the premises of Dr. Fowler. In 1929, a 2-foot alligator was found in the grass at someone's home in Port Jervis, New York. 1931, a 2-foot gator found in someone's bushes in Pleasantville. 32, police organized alligator hunt in Westchester County after 2 boys bring in 3-foot dead alligator and claim the Bronx River is swarming with them. And it goes. There's a whole bunch of articles in the 20s and 30s and into the 40s that seem to be where that does. And it says here, most of the blame for this tale's persistence should be assigned to Robert Daly's 1959 World Beneath the City, which is a story about the sewers of New York. In it, he passes along a tale from Teddy May, New York superintendent of sewers until 1955. And according to the book, sewer inspectors first reported seeing gators around 1935. Quote, he sat at his desk, screwing fists into his eyes, trying to forget the sight of alligators serenely paddling around in his sewers. The beam of his own flashlight had spotted alligators, whose length on average was about 2 feet. The colony appeared to have settled contently under the very streets of the busiest city in the world.
Yeah, I had heard something like that. But the see, this wasn't there something about the alligators like reaching people's houses and like
Coming up through the toilets and
coming up through the toilets?
which
Yeah.
I don't even think is like physically possible, but okay.
No, what? Yeah, that's the part I didn't understand. Like, all right, sure, there could be alligators, even though that part doesn't really make much sense because it's too cold for alligators to live comfortably or like to develop a natural habitat. But like crawling up through the toilet thing, I just don't get it. I'm just not buying that.
That was a weird piece of it, I agree. Now, the piece about alligators in the sewers,
Yeah,
kind of legit. And to be
I
honest,
kind
I
of
could
believe that.
believe there being an alligator
Yeah,
in the sewer.
I could totally believe that.
Because people have alligators. They could escape. They could imagine, and no offense, I could see you doing this. Ill-advised buying an alligator as a pet. Matt, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
still here.
Uh, Getting an alligator as a pet, realizing it is a terrible idea, and getting rid of it by putting it in the sewer. I could totally believe somebody doing that.
Yeah, yeah, I could believe
Now, the
that.
fact that there's a whole family of alligators, I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch for me. Um, but I think it is sewers. I think overall are a great place for an urban legend, right?
Yeah,
Dark, spooky, damp, place no one really ever goes, but people claim they've gone to or might have seen something in. Place where it's easy to mistake something for something else. A place that something we all use and are familiar with. Um,
yeah.
it's where the
I
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live. I mean, come
I
on.
would probably rank this urban legend pretty highly, like in terms of both believability and quality of urban legend.
I
Like
agree.
it'd be just because it's like it's yeah, like we said, it's believable, and secondly, it's it's like a good legend. Like it's something that you could like talk about with your friends and coworkers and have them like possibly actually believe it. And that is what makes a really good urban legend.
Well, yeah, and sewers are scary. Gators are scary.
Yeah.
Dangerous. So it's got that fear element to it. It's got the shock factor to it. I agree. Very, very. This is a 9 or a 10. I think on the scale. It's right up near the top because
Yeah.
it could very well be true.
Totally. This is a good one.
I think so.
It's a good
It's an all time classic.
yeah.
What about you, Matt? You got something from the weird and wacky pile?
Yeah, weird and wacky stuff. Now I'm sensing a new pattern, and tell me if you follow this pattern between just to diverge a little bit, just to um, point out your picks seem to be like classic urban legends from like tried and true decades old urban legends that we know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this pick, you'll probably really see it shine. But my first one as well with the Slender Man, I seem to be picking a lot of like the modern urban legends,
Sure.
like the contemporary ones from like very recent, very like millennial urban legends. So my next pick, I went with one that I kind of remember growing up a little bit, and I think it's only with the advent of the internet and the way that's and social media and things that we didn't have when we were kids. Um, we have this phenomenon taking off with. Um, I remember talking about like at school. I would come in with like a news story about a game glitch, like
Mm-hmm.
a video game glitching, and something weird happened. Most of the times they were all completely made up. But me and my friends kind of like to like out story each other with like, well, this happened in my game, and like this weird thing happened in my game, and this is like all we did in elementary school was talk about like these game glitches. But now it's like really found a home on the internet, and they call it creepy pasta, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it's a spinoff of Slender Man, isn't it?
Um,
In a way, I thought they were related.
oh, I guess I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they probably incorporate the Slender Man since he's such a pivotal mythical character in the
Oh
mythos
yeah, it says
of the modern
on
world.
Wikipedia. It says in the mainstream media, creepypastas relating to Slender Man, or yeah, so that's where they're most related. But yes, no, they're far bigger than that.
Yeah, like I think a creepy pasta is just kind of like a scary thing somebody posts on the internet, and then they kind of run with it and make it creepier. Um, but to me, like it kind of exhibits like the storytelling of like the modern. It's kind of like a modern storytelling. It's cool because growing up, we did the same thing. Like, I don't know if you had the same experience. You weren't really much of a gamer when you were growing up.
No.
You didn't play a lot of video games or whatnot, and you were probably better off for it because you probably
I
read a
read
bunch
books.
of books and
Yes.
got smart.
It's really paid off for
Got
me.
a lot of book learning. Um, but yeah, we now I know there's a lot that evolve around like Pokemon games being creepy and doing creepy things. One of the things was in one of the locations you visit, the song that they play, if it's like sped up or slowed down or something, it can cause like insanity or something. Um, there's a couple other glitches involving like I guess like weird messages and stuff. I don't know. It's way too broad to get into specifics, but my urban legend is the creepy pasta surrounding video games and cartoons too. There's plenty for cartoons. I saw one in there that was a creepy pasta of SpongeBob.
Squidward's suicide.
Yes, that was the one I read about. I researched, and that was a creepy one. But it's like this idea of everything that's been done before. Everything has been done before, I guess, and then it's just taking things that are old or things that are already done and renewing them in a new way to make it adapt to. This is kind of like the modern storytelling. It basically is. I mean, we see reboots all over the place. You know, not really an original idea in sight, just taking old things and revamping them, or not even revamping them, just telling them in a different way, changing the genre, changing the narrator, changing the perspective. So it's like something like the SpongeBob creepypasta is taking something nice and enjoyable and funny and making it scary and making it like something you would see from a horror film. So that's why I really like creepypasta and game glitches for that's a real modern urban legend.
I like it. I like it. I could do a whole hour of this show just on how the internet has allowed creativity to thrive in ways that I certainly couldn't have imagined, and I think most people couldn't have, in all kinds of crazy ways, and people actually making a living off doing it. So it's interesting, and I agree. The internet is, without doubt, the new medium of the urban legend.
Absolutely.
You can go back in time. It before the internet, it was email chains. Before email chains, it was chain letters. Before that, it was telephone calls. Before that, word of mouth. The newspaper, maybe magazines at one point. I mean, they've gone through a lot of mediums, but I think they've adapted quite well to the internet.
Definitely.
I agree. Not much of a debate there. Matt, how many times has this happened to you? You go out for a long night of partying with all kinds of sexy ladies, right? And at the end of the night, you take one of those sexy ladies. She buys you some drinks. She takes you back to your hotel room. And just before things get exciting, you fall asleep.
She's an alien.
No.
Turns out she's an alien.
No.
Wow. I was gonna say if that's the case, more than once.
That happens a lot. Well, that sounds better than what actually happened to you, which is you woke up in a bathtub full of ice and a note. If you want to live, call 911. Why?
They took one of my kidneys.
Because they took your kidneys, Matt. The famous.
Gets me every time.
Be like, I only have 2 kidneys. How many more can they steal? I remember. This is one of the legends that I remember hearing when I was young. And I don't remember if it was television or a book or a movie or what it was, but it's been around for a long time. It actually originating in the 90s.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's not any older than that. The earliest mentions date back to 91. It didn't get its kind of current with the ice and that part of the story until around 95. 96. Of course, it's never been proven to actually exist. Little bits and little bits of this are true. You know, in some countries, it actually is legal to sell kidneys for money, which gives you good reason to steal it.
The burgeoning kidney trade.
There have been stories of, some true, some not true, of people actually being lured in by false promises or for a job and actually being coerced or even in some cases forced to give up their kidney so the person could sell it.
Yeah.
It's not actually completely unheard of. However, the classic element of being drugged, your kidney being stolen, left in a bathtub full of ice, according to Snopes, has never actually happened.
Yeah, I've actually heard, some reports, foreign countries, I think India is a big one, where this actually happens to tourists on not a regular basis, but it's like definitely not unheard of for it to happen.
A stolen kidney typically costs about $6,000 to $10,000 for the organ and transplant operation. In some instances, paid donors in India receive about $1,000, more than a year's salary for a rural laborer.
Now I'm wondering why the kidney? Like, if they're gonna take something, why would they care about you living?
Well, because they don't want to be, they don't want to be charged with murder.
Well, there's a strong possibility that, if somebody takes your kidney away and doesn't put you on a proper dialysis machine right away, you could still die. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you shouldn't be cutting into somebody in an unsanitary hotel room environment.
Right.
I
also
agree.
How skilled are they? There must be like some kind of training for these would-be kidney thieves.
Well, I'm sure the first couple of people don't make it, but eventually you figure out what not to do.
Yeah.
And you walk away with a few kidneys.
That's got to take a long time and a lot of practice, unless these are already trained surgeons that are doing this.
Well,
now why don't they take a look at the registration of all the surgeons?
How about this, Matt? In May of 1998, 3 surgeons and 7 others at the Noida Medicare Center in India were arrested for tricking people out of their kidneys. According to the charges, members of this group approached various unemployed men holding out the promise of jobs. The victims were advised that a medical examination was required. They submitted and then were told that something requiring a small operation had come up during the exam. During the operation, unknown to the patients, one of their kidneys would be removed. Afterwards, they wouldn't get a job. That's even worse.
They wouldn't even give them the job after? Wow.
Well, they wouldn't even know that their kidney had been removed, hypothetically. I mean, I don't know what the medical ramifications are of having only one kidney.
I mean, you would probably wake up and see that there were stitches on your back.
But they said it was like we're taking out your gallbladder or something, or they'd make up a small story. So would you could have gone your whole life without knowing your kidney had been stolen. That's crazy.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it's like people who wake up with like leftover operating room stuff in their body after like 20 years of it being there, like a scalpel left in your body. That's not an urban legend. That's a real thing. I saw it. They did a whole TLC show on it. You should see the shit they leave in people. Makes you really.
Well, if it's on TLC, then there's no way.
It's the Learning Channel.
Anything but true.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Learning Channel. At least it was once.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know when that was.
Remember that? Remember when they used to have like educational things all the time?
I remember when they had Trading Spaces.
Trading Spaces.
Did you ever watch that?
I did.
That show was great.
And then they took Trading Spaces and they made it Trading Spouses.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I remember that.
You swapped your wife.
Wife
for your
swap.
husband.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And that was a whole thing.
Man, hey, can we do an episode on like bad reality television?
Totally. We
and talk
totally.
about like wife swap and
We did it for game shows, didn't we?
we did, and we talked about some pretty. My dad is better than your dad.
That was awesome.
We should. I'm gonna. That's a good idea. We're gonna have to do that. Some of like the
Yeah.
really, like my what was it, the Joe Schmo show? Did you ever see that one?
Yeah. Yep. I remember that
My
one.
big
That was
fat
one of
obnoxious
the.
fiance.
Yep, my big fat obnoxious fiance.
That was when Fox was. What was it? Who's my real dad? Or you remember that one?
Yeah.
That one was
That
canceled.
was
They
that.
didn't even finish that one. But it was
Yeah.
the girl and one of the 12 contestants was really her father, and she didn't know. But it turns out her father was like a tax embezzler and was arrested, so they didn't air it.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
We are. Yes, we're spiraling.
We are. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna use this word spiraling. Spiraling though, I was gonna use the word crashing and burning,
Okay, Matt,
but not quite. That's a little bit too dramatic.
I'm calling an audible. Calling an audible.
Uh
Audible.
oh.
What would you like to talk about, Matt? You can talk about anything you want right now. What do you want to talk about? It's Thursday
Anything
night.
I want.
It's 9:40 p.m. What would you like to talk? Literally anything. What would you like to talk about?
The thing that I would like to talk about the most, Sean, is chewing gum.
Chewing gum. Okay.
Chewing
And
gum,
what would
Sean.
what would you like
Let's
to talk
do it.
about chewing gum?
Let's talk about chewing gum. And I know we talked about this before. I wanted to do a show tonight, folks, all about the wonderful world of chewing gum. I thought it would have been a great
you can't
episode.
do a whole show on chewing gum.
I'm like Seinfeld, Sean. I want to look at like life and through a microscope. I want to look at the like, little minutia that make up our world and talk about how fascinating they are.
I'm very quickly realizing that when I ping you and and ask what we're going to talk about this week, that you just look around the room and just pick something sitting on your desk. You're like, pencils. We're going to talk about pencils this week. How much we love pencils.
Hey, a pencil episode wouldn't be bad. I love Ticonderoga pencils.
Number 1 is way better than number 2. What would you like to talk about at chewing gum, Matt? Are you a hard shell guy or are you a soft gum guy?
I'm definitely finding more and more that I'm actually a soft shell guy, and I never knew that. Growing up, I always liked the hard gum. I always liked to chew like Eclipse was a popular one.
Yep.
Like the real like I like the little bit of crunch to my gum.
Dentine Ice.
Dentine Ice. I was actually I love Dentine Ice, but now no, I'm a Wrigley's guy. All about the Wrigley's gum.
You're the
All
only person
about
I know who
Wrigley's.
chews Wrigley's. I didn't know that was still
All
a thing.
about Wrigley's gum.
Huh.
It's a classic.
No.
Double mint, of course.
Double mint.
Double mint gum.
The problem with soft gum is I find it inconvenient.
Inconvenient.
I like the drums of the hard shell candy that aren't wrapped because they're easier to eat. I mean, think of how much work it is to unwrap gum. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Who has time for that?
Thing about the hard shell gum, right? Okay, I understand what you're saying, but the hard shell gum. First, where should we begin? The wrapper of the hard shell gum. If you could even call it a wrapper,
Oh, the
I would call
foil
it a
pack?
plastic shell.
Yeah.
Very bad for the environment. Terrible
Who
for the
cares?
environment. Okay, first of all, plastic takes 2 lifetimes to biodegrade, Sean. 2 lifetimes.
As a
Who has
representative of
time
the
to
plastics industry, I
Our
think plastics is
planet
great.
deserves better.
No.
Our planet deserves better than a plastic wrapped gum. Second of all, second point, the hard shell gum is so difficult to extract from that plastic wrapper
It's
because you have to pop it, all right? And when you pop it, a lot of the times, and I would say by a lot, like 6 out of 10 times, it goes flying across the room.
Okay.
To your boss's drink. You don't get the job you're interviewing for. You don't get the promotion. It's just a recipe for disaster.
You sound really bitter about this.
How smooth does that look? You're talking to a pretty girl, and then all of a sudden you're popping that Dentine Ice, trying to be all suave, and then it goes flying across the room. Disastrous.
Did this happen to you, Matt?
Disastrous.
Is this a true story?
I'm just telling you, it's a disaster.
It's not.
All right. That brings me to point number 3.
Yes.
Of the hard shell gum experience. All right. It's so beholden to temperature. It's ridiculous.
Oh, but unwrapped gum isn't.
No, it's not. Not to the same degree. Because if a piece of hard shell gum is too cold, it breaks right in half, like a piece of candy or something. It doesn't even go into proper gum form, and then you wind up eating it by accident, and you're like, wow, I was trying to chew that, but I accidentally ate it because it was kind of like an Altoid. No, it's not supposed to be an Altoid. It's supposed to be a piece of gum. Soft shell gum is just superior
Are you done?
in every sense of the word.
Are you done?
Yeah, that's it. I had A, B, and C.
All right, Matt.
A, B, 3.
Let's keep
go.
this debate going. 3 reasons hard shell gum is better than soft shell gum. 1, it's better for the environment. Why? Because each piece isn't individually wrapped. I would rather have one plastic, and by the way, that's biodegradable plastic for the most part because it's cheap, thin plastic. And each piece is not individually wrapped, especially when you get it in the tubs, which are just the plastic outer. So, okay, 1, better for the environment.
Okay.
2, they are not affected by pressure or by warping. It's always the same shape and it's consistent. If you put gum in your pocket and you sit on it, it will bend. Okay? Bad news. You don't want that. Okay? 3, more convenient to eat. So not only are they not individually wrapped, which is part of that, but they are poppable. It is easy to grab one and put in your mouth. You eat it, right? But with an individual stick of soft gum, you have to unwrap it, okay? And you got to it's long, you got to put the whole thing in your mouth, okay? It is far more effort to eat soft gum than it is hard gum. And number 4, I'm going to give you one extra point. Hard shell gum is more fun to eat.
Okay, and why?
Because
why is it more fun?
you get both sensations. It's the blow pop of gum where you get the thrill of breaking down the hard outer shell while still getting the soft inner gum.
All right, I should have been taking notes because all your points are ridiculous. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why you're wrong, Sean.
And I bet
about
you will.
this issue about the gum.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's start off with the environment issue. Again, we'll revisit that. You said that the plastic biodegrades quickly because it is quote-unquote cheaper plastic. Well, did you know that the gum that is wrapped, that the soft shell gum is wrapped in, the paper that it's wrapped in, is approximately 25 to 30% thinner than the plastic that your hard shell gum
Cite your source.
wrapped in. It's my brain.
Uh-huh.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia it. If you Wikipedia it, that's all you have to do. Just Wikipedia it. So, where was I? If you take all the individual or paper wrapped gum, little pieces of gum, and you put them all together in a sheet that's the same dimensions and size, it will be equal to or less than that of the plastic coating box. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. You've got the Matt guarantee.
Got it. It's guaranteed.
Oh, God.
Those papers are so thin, the little papers that wrap the gum in, and sometimes they're even comical. Case in point, Bazooka Joe, Bazooka gum. Do you remember Bazooka gum, Sean?
Sadly, I do remember Bazooka gum. Terrible gum.
Bazooka gum.
Horrifically bad gum.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. It was just gum. It was just gum.
It was shitty gum.
It was just bubble gum. But what made the Bazooka gum worth it was not the gum itself.
But was the mediocre comics.
It was the comics, the mediocre comics.
That was usually just a single pun.
That the gum would be wrapped in. Now, I would like to see companies do more of that. More of that, gum companies.
Matt, just go on Twitter. I don't know why you need your gum to tell you jokes. It's chewing gum. It's not there to entertain you.
Because it's nice. They don't have to tell me jokes. They can give me witty philosophical insight. They could give me a fortune. They could predict my future.
They have cookies for
something
that, Matt.
Cool. They could give me lottery numbers to play. I need that from my gum.
What?
I just need a little bit more interaction.
Your gum is too Your gum is too static.
Too
Is that what
human.
you're telling me? You want dynamic
It's
gum?
too human, and I think that's why gum sales are lower now than they've ever been.
Is that true?
That's probably true.
Okay.
Not a lot of people really chew gum that much anymore. A lot of people are into their e-cigs more than gum.
Well, let's find out, Matt. Let's see. Let's see.
I'm willing to put a wager that
Okay, what do you
gum
want to wager? I still haven't found it, so I don't know yet.
I will bet you 1 pack of gum.
Winner's choice.
Winner's choice,
And
of
you
course.
say that gum sales have gone down.
Gone down. They are on the downswing.
Let's
I
see.
wonder if there's even market research to back this up.
Matt, as someone who works in market research, there's market research for everything. Let's see. No, that's which is the biggest. You want to know which brand is the biggest?
I could guess. That'd be a fun thing to guess.
Yeah,
I'm going to
in
guess
2013 in millions of dollars.
our boys over at Wrigley's.
No, more specific brands. So like Double
Oh.
Mint.
Oh, okay. Wait, Double Mint is the brand?
Yeah,
I thought it was Wrigley's.
No, Wrigley's is the company. Double Mint is the brand.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll go with Double Mint.
No, Double Mint is like 8th.
It's not Dentine.
No, Dentine is 4th.
Nice. I'm quickly running out of Wintergreen. Is that a flavor? That's a flavor, right? That's
Winter
not a company.
Fresh.
Winter
That's
Fresh.
pretty far.
That's not what I was thinking of.
No, but I will say several.
Trident.
The top 6 are 50-50 hard and soft. Trident is number
Trident?
1. Trident is number 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Took a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think that's because they've been able to evolve. Because Trident gum, I think, is like one flavor. It starts out as one flavor, and then the more you chew it, it turns into another flavor. That's exciting.
That's gimmick
It's an
gum. I
exciting
don't want your BS gimmick
That's an
gum.
exciting thing. I want I want gum to turn into a big gimmick. Like,
You want an everlasting
otherwise, what's the point of
gobstopper.
chewing it? What's the point of chewing it? To stop you from smoking and stop you from overeating? Like, is that
oh,
really what gum has
God.
become? A
That
substitute
sucks.
for other more fun things?
Oh, but what did gum become? A fun experiment for the chemists in New Jersey to figure out what tomato flavored gum or whatever other wacky stuff they come up
Yeah,
with?
Willy Wonka taught us that. Right? Isn't there the girl that can't stop chewing gum and then she turns into a blueberry?
That's right. That's right. Is that what you want? Sounds like that's what you
That's
want.
the world that I want. I just want more exciting gum. I want gum to I want to feel excited about chewing gum again.
It's gum. It's
It
chewing
should be more,
gum.
and that's what I'm saying. It should be more than that.
No,
It
but
should be more than that.
it should be just that.
The gum companies owe it to their consumers in order for it to be more than that.
let me guess, Matt. You loved green ketchup too.
I was entertained by green ketchup for a couple weeks. I was excited by it. It was a fun gimmick. And you know what? Ketchup sales were higher than ever when they introduced green ketchup.
Now you're just making stuff up. Like, don't act.
Statistics show, Sean, that nobody ever at any point in history bought more ketchup than when they introduced green ketchup.
How about this, Matt? The worldwide chewing gum market grew by 20% between 2009 and 2014.
That can't be.
Yep, reaching $24.7 billion in 2014.
The global market.
Yep.
I wasn't talking about the global market. I was talking about
I was talking
right
about the
here
global
in
market.
the good old U.S. of A. No,
'Cause
definitely
in the
not.
United States, it fell from.
Because the global market in just about anything, when it's related to like gum, is going to grow by a lot.
From 2013 to 2014 in the U.S., it fell about 2%.
There we go.
But I was right because it grew worldwide. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank
I'll
you.
be expecting that pack of
I
gum.
appreciate it. Free
Very.
gum. I love it. Hard shell.
Thank you.
I want the
All right,
crunch.
definitely the soft shell.
That's
I want the double mint, and I want it
I want
soft
some
shell.
Eclipse. Because that's the best part of gum, Matt. The crunch.
No, what? Why? What? What the hell? The crunch. You want crunch? You get potato chips. Obviously, it's not what you do. Your gum should not be crunchy. I would not want to chew on the crunchy gum.
But it's only crunchy
furthermore,
temporarily.
I think you're doing soft gum wrong when you say that the piece is too long and it's hard to chew.
You're right. That's a double mint
All
slam.
right, you take it, you break it. You have two equidistant pieces, and then you put it in your mouth.
Oh my god, this is
That's
so
how
much
you eat
work.
gum.
So I have to
That's
take
how
it
you
out
eat
of the
gum.
package. I have to unwrap
You're
it. I have to break it in
shelling a
half.
crab. You're chewing a piece of gum.
Well, it feels
You
like
break
I'm
it
shelling
and
a crab.
chew it.
You know what I do with my Eclipse?
Simple.
I pop the lid on the container and I pop one in my mouth. It's pretty simple. You know, it's like texting and driving. Imagine opening a piece of gum behind the wheel. I mean, you're going to plow into a tree or something.
An environment murdering container.
Oh, please. Plastic is great. We need to be sponsored by the plastics industry. I'm going to work on that.
I think this episode should be sponsored by gum.
Gum, that's one thing we can both agree on. Gum is great.
Now, all right, here's the thing to look up. Is there a company out there like that just brands itself as gum? Kind of like, I have a feeling if there's not, there could be. And it could be like, you know how Band-Aid became
like
a
gum
Band-Aid,
brand gum?
or how tissue, latex, or not latex, what's the Kleenex all of a sudden became like tissue for a while, and Xerox. Like,
yeah.
well, I guess Band-Aid is the best example because
I
they
know
used
what
to
you
be called adhesive strips.
Yeah, no,
Medical
that's happened to a
adhesive
lot of industries. TiVo is a good example.
TiVo, exactly.
Yes, no, as far as I can tell,
If a
according to
company
Google,
came out there
there's
and
never
and it was gum with two M's, Gumm, because it's wacky, and they break right into the gum industry. I have a vision of it happening.
trademark it, own it.
Let's do it.
So, Matt, we talked about Bazooka,
Yeah.
which is, I would say, shitty gum. You say adequate gum. What do you think about? And to me, gum flavors. Okay, they're your all-time classics. Your mints, right? Your spearmint and your wintergreen. There's bubble gum, all-time classic. Everyone loves bubble gum.
Yeah.
What do you think about cinnamon gum? Your Big Reds, for example.
For me, the big reds are somewhere in between the minty gum and the bubble gum. I'm not really a bubble gum guy. Like, I get it if you're playing baseball or like you're in the middle of a baseball game. Like, I remember Big League Chew and Bubble Tape. Like, those were cool. But I never really wanted that if I wasn't in the middle of a Little League game. Like, I don't think there's much of a market for bubble gum anymore. But the cinnamon gum is highly underrated. It's highly underrated. Cinnamon is a great flavor for gum. All right, it lasts long. It's lasted longer than any other gum I've ever had.
That's true.
Which is what you want in a gum. You want longevity, and you don't want that flavor to wear out, and then you're chewing on just a piece of rubber, flavorless rubber.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, a good piece of cinnamon gum can rival even the best wintergreens and spearmints.
Matt, you are so wrong. It is frankly staggering. And
all right,
allow me to explain
let's see
to you
some
why.
sources. Let's explain to me why.
Why does one chew bubble gum or gum? Why does one chew gum? Period.
Because it's fun.
No, absolutely not. it's just moving your jaw up and down. That's not fun.
Because sometimes people get nervous and they don't want to reach for a cigarette. They would rather reach for a gum.
That's maybe 10% of the time. But you could do that with a mint. You could do that with a... Although, hang on. I'm getting away from my point. The point is you chew gum to feel fresh. That is why you chew gum. Because there's something going on in your mouth, and you want to fix it up with gum.
I think you've gotten gum confused, and you've conflated it with mints.
No.
Because that's what you do with
Mints
mints.
serve the same purpose. Now, the difference is gum lasts longer. That's the difference to me, but I think they serve the same purpose. Now, I agree that's not 100% of gum in 100% of cases. I think that's the primary use for gum. And that is why cinnamon gum is whack. Because there's nothing fresh about cinnamon gum. Cinnamon gum is like... it's like putting hot sauce on your birthday cake. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Sean, let me form a rebuttal here. Cinnamon, okay, is a what? A
Condiment.
spice.
Yes.
I was looking for the word spice. Isn't cinnamon one of the Spice Girls? I don't know.
Yeah, cinnamon spice.
Anyway, cinnamon spice. Cinnamon is a spice.
Yes.
Mint is a
Topping.
spice.
No.
It's another spice. They're both spices.
Well,
All right.
no, mint is an herb.
The
Matt.
point of gum is to spice up your life, just like the Spice Girls said. I'm honestly surprised they never did a gum commercial. Spice up your life. That's why you chew
With
gum.
Big Red, yes.
You chew gum. And you know what? I'm going to go out and buy some Big Red tomorrow.
Big Red
I'm going to show you. So I don't know why you don't think that cinnamon is not refreshing. It's very refreshing.
No, it's the
Cinnamon's
opposite
very
of refreshing.
especially in the wintertime. It's a very refreshing flavor. It rejuvenates you. A lot of people like to drink cinnamon flavored tea. A lot of people like to drink mint tea.
Again,
they kind of go hand in hand.
No, they don't, because cinnamon doesn't make you fresh. It makes you.
It does.
No.
I think it makes you equally fresh, just like a mint. You also said now. All right. So now, why do people chew bubble gum? Bubble gum doesn't.
Because it's a novelty. That's why people. Nobody likes the flavor of bubblegum. It's only because you had it as a kid and it's a novelty. But cinnamon doesn't fall into that category either. I'm saying you don't need cinnamon.
Have you ever had a what are those things called? Big. You know the cinnamon jawbreakers.
What?
Red Hots. Red Hots.
No, I hate Red Hots. See this?
Have you
Maybe
ever had a
it's
Red
just me who
That's
hates
a
cinnamon
novelty.
gum.
There you go. I think you're just being a hater on cinnamon
Yeah,
gum.
all right.
I don't understand.
I
But-
don't understand because it doesn't fit in with
It's great.
any of the other gum flavors.
It's tasty.
Gum is
It's
sweet.
a
It
good
is
flavor.
not spicy. Spicy gum is weird. There, that is my argument.
It's not cinnamon isn't spicy. I think cinnamon
you just
is
said
more
it was
on
a
the sweet side.
spice.
It's a spice, but it doesn't make it spicy. Nutmeg is a spice. And nutmeg isn't spicy.
In a gum, it might be.
It tastes good, and I think that is the main thing. It tastes good, and it is sweet, and it is very comparable to mint on a flavor scale.
Oh my god! All right, we're gonna have to move on from cinnamon gum because we'll die doing this. I want to talk about one of the most aggressive gums that I can think of. Bubblicious.
Bubblicious.
Bubblicious is gum insanity.
That's the gum that won't quit. It's the gum that gets it done.
No, that's the problem with Bubblicious. It is the gum that quits. It's the gum you have to chew 6 pieces of because, like, 5 seconds after putting it in your mouth, it's just a lot of tasteless.
Juicy fruit. That's juicy
Yes,
fruit.
juicy fruit as well.
Loathe juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit does suck.
Oh god, juicy fruit is the worst. Juicy fruit is the worst. You have to chew an entire pack to have any kind of real satisfaction.
It tastes good for exactly 5 seconds.
Exactly 5 seconds. It's like kind of like this burst of it. Yeah, I'd rather buy a pack of Starburst, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the same effect.
And Starbursts are way tastier, and they've evolved over the years. How has juicy fruit evolved? It's basically stayed that same stagnant, boring 5-second blast of quasi enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Juicy fruit
But I
sucks.
feel the same about Bubblicious, which is just a big wad of sugar.
Yeah.
That just is incredibly flavorful and then just has the worst aftertaste.
But I'm going to defend Bubblicious here. It lives up to its name. It is
It's
by
great for
far
bubble.
the easiest gum to blow bubbles with.
Well,
So if you're looking for, because the pieces are nice and meaty, the bubbles you get are nice and pronounced. Like that's what you want when you're chewing gum for the novelty of blowing bubbles.
but is it better than Double Bubble?
Yes, yes. Granted, I haven't had double bubble in a while, but
That was another ball game classic. We always
yeah,
like Double Bubble. Um,
I love the hell out of bubble tape. By the way, I will rep bubble tape to the end of my days.
Matt, can I make a confession?
Yes, you've never had bubble
I've
tape.
never had bubble tape.
You've missed a large and sugary part of childhood, my friend.
I don't.
What was great
know.
about bubble tape? I used to eat it the wrong way, and it was for the best. Like bubble, all right. So for those
How
of
do
you at
you
home,
eat? I never understood how
not
you
aware.
ate bubble tape. Please inform
and
me.
for Sean, who was also unaware because he's never experienced the bubble tape, it would come in like almost like a toy tape measure. It would be pink. It'd be circular, like a tape measure, and you would extract the gum like it was a piece of measuring tape from a tape measure, and you would break off. You would get to the point where you would think it was a reasonable piece, and you break it off, and that's when you would chew it, or because you're a kid, you would just see how much you can go and keep pulling the bubble tape as far as it'll go, and then you'd eat it, and then you'd have just a big mess of bubble tape everywhere. I would open up the bubble tape,
Mm-hmm.
the little circular bubble tape holder. I would take the roll of gum out, and I would bite it just like a wheel of cheese. I would just take a nice bite out of that bubble tape, and that's how I would enjoy bubble tape.
That is the most Matt thing I've ever
I
heard.
would take bets with people, with my friends, and we would see who could fit more bubble tape in their mouth, and it would be hysterical. And that's how I enjoyed bubble
Good
tape.
Lord.
I don't even know if they sell it anymore. I hope they do.
They do.
If they do, I highly recommend getting some.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. And now and see, bubble tape has evolved. They had bubble tape. They had commercials on television. And they got to a point in their business where they were so successful, they started introducing new flavors of bubble tape. They had strawberry, they had cherry,
Cotton candy, grape.
cotton candy, grape. Yes, blueberry, I think was a flavor.
Yep.
They went all out. They had a whole bunch of. They did plenty of flavors, and it was awesome. I think they had sour bubble tape at one
They
point.
did. They had all the flavors in sour. Matt, would you like a true bubble tape fun fact?
Yes.
This is going to blow your mind. I don't know if you remember on bubble tape, there was a white powdery substance on the tape. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Do you know what that's made of?
Sugar. Definitely sugar.
No,
Don't
it's
tell me
not.
it's anything but sugar.
It's not
No.
sugar.
Don't ruin this.
It's not sugar. It gets worse.
No.
It is
Oh, no.
ground up granite, like the stone. It's used to prevent drying and sticking, safe for human consumption. I'm going to double check that because that's what Wikipedia says.
That's. You know what? I always knew that was kind of a suspicious powder. Like, it didn't seem like sugar. Like, it did. It just stayed on your hands like kind of too long for comfort.
Yeah, no, I can't confirm that on anywhere else but Wikipedia. So take it for granted. I believe it
All right,
because you
somebody
can
might
eat
have
it.
somebody might have hacked it. Somebody over at Big League Chew
They're-
might have hacked
they're-
that page, edited it to mess with the
It was the fruit
competition.
by the foot guys getting mad that they were stealing their gimmick.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Ugh.
funny. There's so many kinds of fruit stripe. You ever eat fruit stripe?
Yeah.
Fruit stripe. There's
Stripe was interesting.
chiclets. Remember chiclets?
Chiclets were big in the South. Yeah. Still are. In Texas.
There, we could just go on for days about gum,
Yeah.
but we can't
But we can't.
because we don't have time. Because we spent the first half of the show talking about urban legends. What an odd episode, but a great one. I'm glad we got to go. But I think this was a win-win because I don't think we could do a whole episode on either. So I think splitting the difference made sense.
But what an inappropriate combination. Although I mean, we can kind of tie it in.
Both are fun for kids.
Well, that little, yeah, that's true. And the little thing about the bubble tape and the granite on the bubble tape, that's not, that says the making
That
of
could be an urban legend. We don't know.
You see, urban legends are all around us, whether we're looking for them or not. It's fun to tell urban legends to our friends.
That's right. Wow, what a great lesson learned. And that's what we strive for here. A lesson learned. And of course, you can learn all our lessons on all our past episodes because we've done now 47 of them. And a lot of them have things you can learn, and you can get them all at upfordebate.tv, which is, of course, our website. Go there, all the episodes, and all the links to subscribe. I'll tease out a couple at upfordebatetv on Twitter. And be sure to subscribe to the feed on any one of the following websites: iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud. In most major podcasting apps, the raw RSS link is on our website as well. And if you can think of another place you'd like to listen to us and we're not there, you let us know, upfordebatetv@gmail.com, and I'll make sure we're there.
Now, you remember, Sean, when we did this show earlier in the season, and we that other show, I guess it was called The Goldilocks Zone, way back.
Matt, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Way back as you sip from your Goldilocks Zone mug.
Mm-hmm.
Way back in the late 2015s, yes, we did this show called The Goldilocks Zone, and I used to have a little segment at the end when I used to pose a question to the audience. I think I'd like to resurrect that just for now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I have two. And you can choose to answer either one or maybe both of them.
Okay.
The first one is, if you could make any flavor of gum, which flavor would it be? And which flavor... No. I'm going to do one better. Which two flavors of gum would you like to see combined with each other in some kind of crazy, abhorrent mixture?
Some Frankenstein-esque monster?
Yes. And the second question that I'd like to ask is, what urban legends have you heard that have to do with gum?
Can they make one up?
Yeah, of course. That's the whole point. It's an urban legend.
Well, hang on. That's three.
No, that's two.
Well, if you could make up any gum flavor,
no,
we're not doing that.
That wasn't a question.
All right, so we're asking the folks at home
I thought that was better.
to mash up two gum flavors and to tell us a gum urban legend.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Well, I'm excited to hear what we'll come up with next week. It should be great. And we will be back next week with another episode of this program, Up for Debate. We appreciate everybody joining us this week on an extra long, supersized episode where we did really two shows in one.
Can I tell you what my flavors of gum are before we go? Sure. I have them right now. I think, and I don't want anyone to steal this idea. Well, actually, I kind of do because I want somebody to make it. I think that they should take chocolate and combine it with mint and make it a chocolate mint gum. Mint chocolate gum.
Matt, I will bet you $5 US American dollars that already exists.
What?
Yep. There you go. Bam. Look at this. Extra Dessert Delights Mint Chocolate Chip Gum. You can buy it right now on Amazon. I will send you a link.
My idea was so great.
They already did it.
They already made it.
You can also
how about Greek yogurt gum with honey in it?
I'm not going to wager that one. That sounds weird. At that point, you should probably just get Greek yogurt. Like, honestly.
But you don't want the calories, Sean. You just want the sensation of eating Greek yogurt.
That is messed up. They do make a cinnamon roll gum.
Yeah,
see, now that's a cinnamon I can get behind. I don't like the heavy cinnamon. I think Big Red is too much cinnamon.
The doughy, you want the dough in there too?
I want the icing. I want the whole thing. Matt, you ever have cinnamon roll Oreos?
Of course I have.
Go get some of that. That's good. That's good shit.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
They have pumpkin spice gum.
Yep.
That's not surprising.
I believe that.
Birthday cake gum. Glazed donut gum.
I'm surprised Starbucks hasn't come out with their own brand of gum yet. But they could sell at their like little shops.
There's a Juicy Fruit Starburst gum where they taste like Starbursts.
Yeah,
Man,
I believe that too.
you're only limited by your imagination, and we've got a lot of it. So, excellent. All right. Well,
Equals and equals of imagination.
we've got to end it here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We will see you next time for even more debate.
Go get yourself some bubble tape.
Go get some, bite into it like a hamburger. Do the Matt Mariani.